At Six Flags Over Texas, located in Arlington, Texas, a busy day at the park typically looks like this. Yet today, the crowd is gone. Not to mention, rides are closing down for this season, changes are underway, and it's freezing cold. So, in today's video, we're covering all the new things happening in the park for this season, and everything you should prepare for this year. So, let's get started. Keep in mind, we pulled up to the park around 1 hour after it already being open, and yet we didn't see anyone. For a second, we thought it was just because it was too early in the day. That was until we saw this sign right here. Out of all the attractions part of Over Texas's lineup, the only ones open for this visit were literally 7, and from that 7, only 2 major coasters are operational, Titan and Batman, which we will for sure check out. But first, let's take a look at the new updates for 2026. If for some reason you still don't know, Over Texas is receiving a major new coaster in 2026, this being a record-breaking dive coaster, similar to the one you see in Fiesta, Texas, just 3 hours south. Because of the size of this new ride, 2 attractions have to leave the park. La Vibra, the park's bobsled coaster, and El Diablo, the park's Larson Loop. About 2 weeks ago, we posted an update on the channel about the demolition for these 2 attractions. But since then, some things have already started to change. For example, La Vibra is already missing a lot more pieces. Looking at the footage from last visit compared to now, a lot more track is missing, and the station for this attraction looks like it's about to go completely away. The walls have been torn up, and even more railing is going away. It's clear that demolition is happening rapidly for this coaster, and pretty soon nothing will be left. On the other hand, some demolition projects are taking a little bit longer. For example, El Diablo. I noted this on my last visit, but El Diablo was taking its sweet time to get demolished. And to me, it was really weird, as this type of attractions typically get shut down pretty easily. They're traveling fair rides. In the case of Six Flags, they're permanent, but still can be packed up like nothing in about 3 days. I'm no construction expert, but I do find really weird that 2 weeks since the last updates, La Vibra is missing more track, but El Diablo is at the same rate it was last time. The only thing gone is the queue line, which was the same as last time. Its trains are still there, the track is not touched, and barely anything is missing. So it makes me wonder if El Diablo is really leaving. I mean, it's possible that they're preserving it or taking their sweet time, since they might ship it over to another park, and they don't want to break anything. Or, and here's the more likely option, El Diablo isn't leaving but getting moved over to a different part of the park. I mean, after all, Over Texas has lost a lot of attractions over the years, and we're losing 2 for 1 ride. Not really a good deal. To see my full prediction on El Diablo, you can click the link up here, but I genuinely believe El Diablo might stay. We'll just need to wait and see. Also, here's a reminder that 2025 means a major expansion for Hurricane Harbor. Dude, it's really like 12 o'clock and it's dead. There's no one here. As we headed over to Titan, we wanted to see if Texas Giant was open, and it was not. For our visit that day specifically, it was freezing cold, and the wind was also really strong, so any tall attractions were not operational, yet somehow this one was open. Now, like I was saying earlier, some major changes are about to happen for Over Texas in 2025, and the first ones start here with Titan and Sidewinder. For Sidewinder, as you can see, it's fenced up, and it's also in pieces. Thankfully, it will not be leaving the park, and instead it's only in pieces for them to reassemble it and refurbish the attraction, making it better than ever when it reopens. And as for the date of reopening, I think it'll align whenever Titan reopens as well. And yes, you heard that right, Titan will be closing this season. The reason why is for a brand new repaint that doesn't just refresh the original colors, but completely changes the color scheme of this coaster. Its rumored new colors are blue and silver, similar to the Cowboys logo. I'm not affiliated, of course. To get an idea of how it'll look, you have a concept art right here created by content creator Titan Thrills, giving us a pretty good idea of this new color scheme. Honestly, I rock with it, but my only concern is that the trains also get repainted. Otherwise, it'll look weird to have orange trains and blue and silver supports. The estimated time for closure is somewhere around this week, or the upcoming one, and Titan will be closed all for 3 months, potentially reopening around spring break. It is sad that the ride will be down for a few weeks, but with the current weather, it's not like the park will be open anyways. The tallest coaster in Texas, at least for now, and it's seriously dead over here. This is potentially the longest line we're going to see today, but we'll see later. Even this is not that bad. With no one in line, we expected to rewrite this ride again. That wasn't until we actually rode it. Up to 100 feet, it was a lot colder than it was on the ground, leaving me especially really cold, and I could not feel my hands. So we'll save that rewrite for later. Over here in the Texas section, since New Texas Giant is closed, it's pretty quiet, but we're also here for another 2025 update. The train attraction we have here at Over Texas is pretty nice. There's 2 stations, one here in the Texas section and one in Boomtown, giving you an easy way to get to the other side of the park, or just giving you great views. Right now it's closed, but it's not because of the weather. In fact, it'll be closed for potentially the next 2 years. The reason why is for the brand new roller coaster, due to it being located right there where La Vibora is. If the train were to be operational, it would interfere with construction and demolition. So obviously the only way for the train to operate is when the coaster is completely finished, or at least until they get the okay to operate while construction's happening. It is pretty sad for the people who love the train, and also for the employees who operate the train, as they won't get to for 2 years. But remember, it's all for the brand new coaster, which is a pretty good trade-off. So if you were expecting to ride the Six Flags in Texas Roto anytime soon, it probably won't happen until 2026. I mean, no other rides open, so might as well do this one. I've never seen the park so empty. The only time I've seen anything close to this is like 5 minutes before the park closes, which it's not, so yeah. As we got to Batman the ride, we thought it was open as we saw it going around, although we were wrong. Never mind, it's closed. Yeah. Turns out the ride just closed down as we walked up, leaving literally only one operational coaster in the park that day, Titan. And also meaning the entirety of Gotham City has nothing to do. We decided to head back over to Titan for one final ride of the day, and on the way there we did see some rides opening, but it was only small flat rides or kiddie attractions. And finally, last ride of the day, Titan. I can't even speak right because of how cold it is. It's literally windy and freezing cold to the point where there's no other attractions open except this one. So this will be an extremely cold ride, possibly the coldest I've ever ridden. Going really fast with the cold winds hitting you, it's actually super painful. My hands were swollen and red after the attraction, but it was worth it. As we head out to the parking lot, there is one final thing we do have to check up on, and that's again the new attraction. We all know the construction is mainly happening in that area by La Vibora and El Diablo, but I do have a major theory that the parking lot will also be used. It only makes sense. Right next to La Vibora is this little area called the Picnic Pavilion. Typically in the past you would sit there and eat your food, and was kind of a resting zone in the park. No one really used it as it was outside the park, and it was a hassle to leave the park and check back in. As of right now, there is some construction fences going around it, which also makes me wonder if this area will be utilized for the brand new dive. I mean, at the moment, all we know is that it's a record breaker. But like I said in many videos, there's a pretty high chance this could be the first ever Giga dive, standing at 300 feet. If that's the case, they need lots of room. And there's not really much room inside the park, but plenty in the parking lot. Meaning they could potentially use this land as the extended layout for the dive. You know, the parts like an airtime hill or any extra rolls. Not to mention, when I was walking through that little street that goes right between the Picnic Pavilion and La Vibora, I could totally envision the coaster going right over the pathway, becoming a new icon as you enter the park. Honestly, my main wish for this new coaster is that they use all of its potential. It could truly be an amazing ride, and while it is a typical dive, they can definitely do something special with it. And I truly see it. Only time will tell. Anyways, that's my first visit here at Over Texas in 2025, and while not much is happening so far, it is clear that 2025 will be the stepping stone for Over Texas, bringing many great things in the horizon for the park. And as for me, I'm super excited to see it. If you want to see more videos like this and also stay up to date with any updates for Over Texas, be sure to subscribe and tap the notification bell so that when new videos come out on my channel. Anyways, thank you for watching, and this is JV Thrills signing out.